Today on the menu we have chicken and rice soup with honey butter cornbread. I don't know about y'all, but I love a good soup no matter if it's winter or summer. So first I'm going to start off with seasoning 2 clean chicken breasts. You can see the seasonings in the video, but I'll also put those details in the caption below. Next I'm going to heat up my Dutch oven on medium high, add some oil and begin cooking my chicken. Here you just want to get a nice sear on both sides, and once that's done, take the chicken out of the pot and place it to the side. To that same pot, I'm adding half a diced yellow onion and 2 tablespoons of minced garlic, and then add in some diced celery and carrots. I personally had some already prepped from months ago in my freezer, so I just used that. Give that a good mix. Next, add in a 1/4 cup of flour and mix that in until you get this type of consistency where it's a bit clumpy and all the juices are being soaked up by the flour. Then you're going to add in a 1/2 stick of butter, salted or unsalted is your preference. I use salted butter. As the butter melts, if you have anything stuck to the bottom, scrape that up so your soup doesn't burn later on. Once the butter is melted and incorporated, add in 4 cups of chicken broth and 4 cups of water. And then season that broth with the same seasonings used for the chicken, including some garlic salt. And then give that a good mix. Next, you want to add in some fresh herbs. I'm going in with some fresh thyme stalks I had in the freezer. Then I'm going to cut some fresh parsley that I have growing in my garden. And of course, I'm cleaning my parsley before I put it in my soup. I just use some unscented castile soap and water and then rinse it twice. I'm just picking a leaf straight off the stalk. I'm not going to chop it up for the parsley. Once the fresh herbs are added in, I'm going to add the chicken back to the pot, scrape any drippings, and bring that soup to a boil and cover it and let it cook for 20 minutes. Remove the chicken from the pot and set aside, and then go ahead and taste test the broth to make sure it's to your liking. I realized it was missing something and added some adobo, and that's exactly what it was missing. Then off camera, I'll rinse my rice until it was clear and then added in that cup of rice and a tablespoon of butter. And then I'm going to go ahead and shred up the chicken breast and add it back to the pot. Once that's added, give it a good mix and then turn up the heat just to reach a boil, and then turn it right back down to bring it to a simmer because you don't want the rice to stick to the bottom or burn. I'm gonna give about 15 minutes to let this rice cook and then remove the fresh thyme stalks from the pot. Next, I'm gonna start on my honey butter cornbread, going in first with 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Next, I'm going in with 2 cups of yellow cornmeal. However, while recording, I realized I did not have a full 2 cups, so I am going to use yellow corn polenta, which is a good substitute if you run out of cornmeal. Next, I'm going in with 2 tablespoons of baking powder and then a teaspoon of salt. Next, I'm going to add a cup of sugar, and then I realized I was out of that too. Oh my gosh, I gotta go to the store. But I'm gonna add in a 1/2 cup of dark brown sugar to balance it out and then mix these dry ingredients in. Next, I'm gonna start putting together the wet ingredients, starting first with 2 cups of milk. Whatever milk you have at home works. And then I'm gonna add a 2/3 cup of vegetable oil and 2 eggs. Now, I used the Moody Foodies cornbread recipe, and the game changer in her recipe is using 1 can of creamed corn. And that ingredient is a must, and I will never go back. So I'm gonna actually make my own. So I'm gonna start off with a tablespoon of butter and 1 can of corn. Let that cook down for a few minutes. Then I'm gonna add in a 1/4 cup of heavy cream, a little bit over a 1/4 cup of milk, and then some salt, and stir that around and let that cook to get thick. And after about 5 minutes, I'm gonna use an immersion blender to blend up some of this corn until you get about this texture. Add the cream corn to the wet mixture bowl, mix it in, and then form a well in the middle of the dry ingredients and slowly add in the wet ingredients and mix it in until it's all incorporated. And you're gonna do that until it's looking like this. Look at that, that looks delicious. I'm so excited. Then you're gonna pour that into the greased pan. It's a 9x13 pan. And then in a preheated oven to 400 degrees, you're gonna add the cornbread in and cook it for 20 minutes. Now I'm gonna start on my honey butter. I'm melting down 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter and then added in 4 tablespoons of honey. Give that a good mix and let it simmer for a little. And like I said, for the cornbread, you're cooking it for 20 minutes initially. Then once the 20 minutes are done, you're going to add in that honey butter on top and then cook it for an additional 10 minutes. Once those 10 minutes are up, I'm going to use a soup pick to just make sure that the center is good and it's cooked through. And then I'm going to let the cornbread rest for 10 minutes before slicing it. And that cornbread looks amazing. It tastes so good and moist. And then my soup is ready. It's looking delicious. That chicken and rice soup. And I'm going to go ahead and plate up, or bowl up, I should say. And yeah, I'm going to enjoy. This was definitely a really good meal. Very comforting. I highly recommend it. Leave a like, share, and comment below. And let me know if you try it out.